everyone, it's Jennifer from Fiberflux. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make these easy tablecloth weights. If you've ever eaten outside on a breezy day or had a party or gone camping and your tablecloth is just kind of fluttering all over the place, you can make these pretty little tablecloth weights to keep your tablecloth in place. And we're just going to be using some simple washers from the hardware store. These are like metal rings that have a nice weight to them. And we're going to be crocheting them with some simple yarn that you may already have on hand. You can really use any yarn for this project. And then finally, towards the end of this video, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to attach your weights. You can crochet them on and sew them, glue them, and clip them on. And I'm going to show you all those different ways that you can hang your weights. So let's get started. For this project, you'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, you'll need some large metal washers. You can find these at the hardware store. They don't necessarily have to be this big. I picked some big heavy ones for my tablecloth. And you'll need your yarn and a hook. I'm going to be using some cotton dishcloth yarn. This is Lily Sugar and Cream by Yarnspirations, and I'll be using a 5mm H crochet hook. But you can really use any yarn you like with this project. Just check the back of the yarn label and look for the recommended hook size for your particular yarn. So let's get started. So what we're going to be doing is covering this with yarn in single crochet stitches. So what you'll want to do is take your washer and tie the yarn right on. Now I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail, and I'm going to show you how to weave that in as we go along. And I picked a variegated yarn. You can really pick any yarn color you like. Okay, so just tie it right on with a secure knot. And I have my tablecloth here because I'm going to show you a couple of ways to attach the weights when you're finished. Okay, so what you're going to do is, see this tail here? We're going to hold this along the edge as we work. So insert your hook into the center of the washer and bring up a loop with your hook and chain one. Okay, so bring up a loop and chain one. Okay, next we're going to work single crochets into the center of this ring until we get all the way across. Okay, still holding that tail along the edge as we work. So go ahead and work your single crochets all the way around this metal washer, and you'll want to keep things nice and snug. So just insert the hook into the center, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops. Okay, we're just going to do this all the way around. See how I'm kind of pushing things together as I work? That'll keep everything nice and neat looking as well. And our goal here is to get all of this metal covered with yarn. Now you could just use these plain, but we like to pretty things up and crochet them. So we're going to add some colorful, fun yarn to this. And one of our hanging options actually involves some crochet. So covering this in yarn is very helpful. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going around the whole edge of this thing and get this covered up. You can see we're about halfway done, so it's pretty quick to work on. Okay, so I worked my single crochet stitches all the way around the washer, and now I'm ready to rejoin to close the round. So this first stitch that we worked, see this one right here? Just insert the hook and work a slip stitch. So bring up a loop after you've inserted the hook, and now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. Okay, and then it's complete. So it only took me a few minutes. Then grab your scissors and cut the yarn, and then you can fasten off. And that's how to make your tablecloth weight. Now what you can do also is, we wove this tail along the edges we worked, so let's give that a nice firm tug, and we'll trim that as well. Okay, so now our tablecloth weight is completely crocheted and we fastened off, and I'm going to leave this tail on here because that's one of the ways to hang your weight. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. The first thing you can do is, now some of these are permanent and some of them are temporary. The first thing you can do is the easiest way. You can just grab a clip like a clothespin and just clip it right on. If you're at a picnic, you'll probably have some of these kind of hanging around anyway. Just clip it right on. The next thing you can do is, now those are temporary. This is a more permanent way to hang it. You can sew it on. So you can either sew it to the front, just kind of on that corner there, or you can flip your tablecloth over and stitch your weight to the back of it. And that's the sewing way to do it. and that is permanent. The next thing you can do is to hot glue it. So if you don't want to take the time to sew it, you can grab your hot glue gun and you can either glue it along the edge of the top here and just stick it right on like that. Or you can also, like with the sewing method, you can flip it over to the back and glue it onto the back so that when you flip it over, it's concealed. Now, you want to make sure you don't go crazy with the glue because it'll look kind of wrinkly and lumpy if you pile the glue on too high. And yarn and fabric hot glues very nicely together. It creates a nice bond. It kind of works into the fibers. The last thing you can do, and this is probably my favorite way, is to, now this is about a 6-inch long tail. That's plenty for what we need, is to crochet it on. And what you can do is grab a tapestry needle and find a little spot in the corner and just work a tapestry needle right into the fabric. This is just plain cotton fabric that I'm using here. It's actually a dinner napkin that we're using, but just, same thing. And you just want to pull it through with the eye. See how the eye of my needle is a little bit wider? You just want to pull it through and kind of work that hole open. See how we have a nice little hole there? Then you can take your hook and kind of work your hook into the hole as well. Now this is a 5mm hook. You can push it all the way to the back and kind of just work that hole open. Now we're left with a decent size hole that we can crochet our piece into. So what we want to do is get the weight. Let me slide this up a little bit. Grab the weight, and then we're going to insert our hook back into that hole. And then we're going to reach back here and we're going to grab that tail with our hook. And we're going to pull that yarn through the hole the best you can. The hole might be a little bit snug, and that's okay. And then we can tighten it a little bit by pulling on that tail. Then what you're going to do is insert the hook. See that stitch, that first stitch there? Insert the hook into that stitch. Bring up a loop. Now bring both loops, bring your yarn through both loops on your hook, just like that. Okay? And now it's stitched on there. And then what we can do once more is wrap the yarn around the hook and then pull it through like that. So now it's crocheted onto the corner. You can see that. And then what I'm going to do is grab my tapestry needle and we're just going to get this tucked away. So flip it over to the back. You can flip the tablecloth over too if that helps. Flip that over to the back and then just weave that end right in. Okay? So weave that end right in. Try to go along the metal. You'll be able to feel the metal washer underneath with your hook. Your needle, excuse me. And then go through here. Just pull it through the best you can. Get it nice and snug. And then you can trim with your scissors. And it's hung in a decorative crocheted way. And it lays pretty flat. And then you can do that with all 4 sides. Now, if you want to, mine is a little bit crazy and colorful. What you can do is kind of pull some of the colors from your tablecloth because this is permanent as well. You can grab some of the colors from your tablecloth. Like this red would be very pretty, or this dark blue, and make yours match your tablecloth. But I don't know. I like the colorful because it's kind of fun and outdoorsy. So that's it. That is how you make a tablecloth weight and how to easily attach it in a multitude of different ways to your tablecloth. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.